A very intricate, complex thing has to be understood. If you are not in love, you are lonely. If you are in love, really in love, you become alone. Loneliness is sadness. Aloneness is not sadness. Loneliness is a feeling of incompleteness. You need someone and the needed one is not available. Loneliness is darkness, with no light in it. A dark house, waiting and waiting for someone to come and kindle the light. Aloneness is not loneliness. Aloneness means the feeling that you are complete. Nobody is needed, you are enough. And this happens in love. Lovers become alone. Through love you touch your inner completeness. Love makes you complete. Lovers share each other, but that is not their need. That is their overflowing energy. Two persons who have been feeling lonely can make a contract, can come together. They are not lovers, remember. They remain lonely but now, because of the presence of the other. They don't feel the loneliness, that's all. They somehow deceive themselves. Their love is nothing but a deception to deceive themselves. I am not lonely, somebody else is there. Because two lonely persons are meeting, their loneliness basically is doubled, or even multiplied. That's what happens ordinarily. You feel lonely when you are alone. And when you are in a relationship you feel miserable. This is an everyday observation. When people are not in a relationship, they feel lonely, and they are searching for somebody to be related to. When they are related to somebody, then the misery starts. Then they feel it was better to be alone. This is too much. What happens? Two lonely people meet. That means two gloomy, sad, miserable people meet and the misery is multiplied. How can two uglinesses become beautiful? How can two lonelinesses coming together bring a sense of completion, totality? Not possible. They exploit each other, they somehow try to deceive themselves through being related to each other. But that deception doesn't go far. By the time the honeymoon is finished, the marriage is also finished. It is just a temporary illusion. When a person is totally free, then out of that freedom sharing is possible. Then he gives much, but not as a need. He gives much, but not as a bargain. He gives much because he has much. He gives because he enjoys giving. Lovers are alone, and a real lover never destroys your aloneness. He will always be totally respectful toward your individuality, toward your aloneness. It is sacred. He will not interfere in it, he will not try to intrude on that space. But ordinarily, lovers, so-called lovers, are very much afraid of the other's aloneness, independence. They are very much afraid, because they think if the other is independent, then they will not be needed, then they will be discarded. So the woman goes on, trying to manage things so that her husband or boyfriend remains dependent. He should be always in need of her, so that she can remain valuable. And the man goes on trying in every way to manage the same, so that he remains valuable. The result is a bargain, not love, and there is continuous conflict, struggle. The struggle is based on the fact that everybody needs freedom. Love allows freedom, not only allows, but strengthens freedom. Anything that destroys freedom is not love. It must be something else. Love and freedom go together, they are two wings of the same bird. Whenever you see that your love is going against your freedom, then you are doing something else in the name of love. Let this be your criterion. Freedom is the criterion. Love gives you freedom, makes you free, liberates you. And once you are totally yourself, you feel grateful to the person who has helped you. That gratefulness is almost religious. You feel in the other person something divine. He has made you free, she has made you free. And love has not become possessiveness. When love deteriorates, it becomes possessiveness, jealousy, struggle for power, politics, domination, manipulation. 1001 thing, all ugly. When love soars high, to the purest sky, it is freedom, total freedom. If you are in love, the love I am talking about, your very love, will help the other to be integrated. Your very love will become a cementing force for the other. In your love, the other will come together as a whole, unique and individual, because your love will give freedom. Under the shade of your love, under the protection of your love, the other will start growing. All growth needs love, but unconditional love. If love has conditions, then growth cannot be total, because those conditions will come in the way. Love unconditionally, don't ask anything in return. Much comes back to you on its own, that's another thing, but don't be a beggar. In love, be an emperor. Just give it and see what happens, 1,000-fold it comes back. But one has to learn the knack. Otherwise one remains a miser, one gives a little and waits for something to come back. And that waiting and expectations destroys the whole beauty of it. When you are waiting and expecting, the other feels that you are being manipulative. He may say it or not, but he feels you are manipulating. And wherever you feel the other is trying to manipulate you, you want to rebel against it because it goes against the inner need of the soul. Because any demand from the outside disintegrates you. Any demand from the outside divides you. Any demand from the outside is a crime against you. Because your freedom is polluted. Then you are no longer sacred. You are no longer the end, you are being used as a means. And the most immoral act in the world is to use somebody as a means. Each being is an end unto himself. Love treats you as an end unto yourself. You are not to be dragged into any expectations. So there are a few things to be remembered. One is to love, but not as a need, as a sharing. Love, but don't expect give. Love, but remember your love should not become an imprisonment for the other. Love, but be very careful, you are moving on sacred ground. You are going into the highest, the purest and holiest temple. Be alert. Drop all impurities outside the temple. When you love a person, love the person. As if the person is a god, not less than that. Never love a woman as a woman and never love a man as a man, because if you love a man as a man, your love is going to be very ordinary. Your love is not going to be more than lust. If you love a woman as a woman, your love is not going to soar very high. Love a woman as a goddess, then love becomes worship. In Tantra, the man who is going to make love to the woman has to worship her for months as a goddess. He has to visualize the woman in the mother goddess. When the visualization has become total, when no lust arises, when seeing the woman sitting naked before him, he simply feels thrilled with a divine energy and no lust arises. The very form of the woman becomes divine, and all thoughts stop. And only reverence is felt, only then he is allowed to make love. It looks a little absurd and paradoxical. When there is no need to make love, then he is allowed to make love. When the woman has become a goddess, then he is allowed to make love because now love can soar high, love can become a climax, a crescendo. Now it will not be of the earth. It will not be of this world, it will not be of two bodies, it will be of two beings. It will be a meeting of two existences. Two souls will meet, merge, and mingle. And both will come out of it tremendously alone. Loneliness is a state when you are ill with yourself, bored with yourself, tired of yourself, and you want to go somewhere. And to forget yourself in being involved with somebody else. Aloneness is when you are thrilled just by your being. You are blissful just by being yourself. You need not go anywhere. Need has disappeared, you are enough unto yourself. But now, a new thing arises in your being. You have so much that you cannot contain it. You have to share, you have to give. And whoever accepts your gift, you will feel grateful that the person has accepted. Lovers feel grateful that their love has been accepted. They feel thankful, because they were so full of energy. And they needed someone to pour that energy into. When a flower blooms and releases its fragrance to the winds, It feels grateful to the winds. That fragrance was growing more and more heavy on the flower. It was becoming almost a burden. It is just as if a woman is pregnant and 9 months have passed. And the child is not being born, is delayed. Now she is so burdened she wants to share the child with the world. That is the meaning of birth. Up to now the woman has been carrying the child within herself. It was nobody else, but her own. But now it is too much, she cannot contain it. It has to be shared, the child has to be shared with the world. The mother has to drop her miserliness. Once the child is out of the womb, it is no longer only the mother's. By and by the child will go away, and far away. It will become part of the great world. The same happens when a cloud comes full of rainwater ready to shower, and when it showers, rains. The cloud feels unburdened and happy and grateful to the thirsty earth. Because it accepted the rain.